Right, this is part 3 of the Brookings article titled A Call for a Transformative Agenda for Women for 2020 and Beyond. U.S. Development Assistance for Women in Decline. As progress for women moves apace in many areas of the world, the current U.S. administration has called for major cuts in development assistance for women and girls, threatening and potentially reversing gains realized to date. For fiscal year 2020, the U.S. administration's request for gender-related funding is $818 million, which includes $100 million for the Women's Global Development and Prosperity Initiative launched by presidential advisor Ivanka Trump. Okay, they're raising money supposedly for your behalf, but do you think you're going to see a dollar of this 818 million? It's theft. In contrast, the Obama administration's 2017 budget requested included 1.3 billion for gender-related funding. What do you need 1.3 billion dollars for? And you're not giving it to anyone who actually can use it. And how are you taking it? Through theft. Development assistance for women and girls is spread across several accounts within the U.S. International Affairs budget, including the Economic Support Fund, Development Assistance, Global Health, Migration and Refugee Assistance, and International Narcotics Control and Law Enforcement. The largest areas of funding are in global health, $463 million for gender-related funding in fiscal year 2019. And Economic Support Fund Development Assistance, $375 million for gender-related funding in fiscal year 2019. The transformative advances we have seen for women and reductions in maternal mortality, girls out of school, and child mortality were the result of major, concerted, and comprehensive global efforts to move the needle on progress for women and children in partnership with long-standing community-driven programs. Historic reductions in maternal mortality are largely due to significant increases in funding in comprehensive global and national campaigns and strategies, including national roadmaps, global leadership, and major public and private funding campaigns. Gains in girls' education and child mortality similarly were the result of effective global campaigns and new and innovative financing efforts. Okay, so basically what this comes down to is they want you to believe that if you give them your money, they can save more girls and children. Okay? The more money you give them, the more control you give them. That's all it comes down to. They want control. A transformative agenda for women in 2020 and beyond. Many are claiming that 2020 will be a historic year for women. The time is right for all of us to call for a new transformative agenda for women in 2020 and beyond. Recent history has shown that transformative change that is important and lasting, takes place only when there is both major new investment, capital, your money, and attention that rises above partisan concerns, propaganda. The President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, PEPFAR, perhaps the best example of this, was enacted in 2003 under the leadership of George W. Bush and transformed the global response to the HIV/AIDS crisis, reversing stigma and inaction and immediately and dramatically making antiretrovirals and other key practices and services available to HIV/AIDS patients, saving millions of lives. It's all a good story. They cause the problems, they offer the solutions, they gain control. What will it take to realize transformative change to address persistent gender inequities and lack of opportunity and rights for women? We believe asserting the centrality of investments in women and girls is critical for the health of nations and the planet. Rising above the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, look into it, and 169 indicators to measure progress. We call for a fresh, bold, and straightforward agenda for new investment in 6 key areas to realize progress for women and girls in all nations. We call upon the global community to identify key leverage points and actions in each of the following 6 areas. Political leadership, the existential threat of climate change and food insecurity. We're seeing that today in the media. Economic status, reproductive health, and often they associate this with abortion. the murder of babies, gender-based violence, and education. One of the most significant advances since the Beijing conference is the emergence of a broader mainstream recognition that investing in women in the area of development yields appreciatively better results than a gender-neutral approach. The time has come for women's issues to move from the sidelines to center stage and to embrace and promote developmental assistance that put women at the center. The demand for women's equality has never been greater. The largest single demonstration in history took place on January 21st, 2017, with more than 3.7 million men, women, and children taking to the streets of every major city in the U.S., and 1 million more joining in more than 200 marches in 60 countries, calling for women's rights and equality. Recently, three leading organizers, Cecile Richards, Ai-jen Poo, and Alicia Garza, founded the organizing platform Supermajority, and 100,000 people signed up in its first few days. As we approach the 25-year mark after the Beijing conference, countries will submit country reports to the UN assessing progress towards Beijing's 12 areas of action. Let us use this historic marker to recommit forcefully to move towards a more gender equal world, and to call for the U.S. to once again lead the world in development assistance for women. The time is right to broaden support for investing in women and girls and to recognize the power of women to heal nations in our planet. And I'm sorry to say this, women, but they're using y'all. They're using the image of your experience to steal from people and to control people. All right. I'll catch y'all next time.